Think just how well planned this was. I mean, it's like an alien invasion out in the middle of nowhere, in Missouri, in some village or town, or, they call themselves cities with just 1,000 people, for real. And so let's imagine that 1,000 people in a city somewhere in Missouri were supposedly overtaken by aliens, right? They're the only ones that know about it, right? They have no communication with the outside world, right? Nothing. And they're living their lives normally, but the military is saying you can't leave because there's a pandemic. You have no internet, no phone, no nothing. You have no communication. Think about it. I want you to think of this scenario. This is a very important scenario that may be coming up in the next bits of time, and it's happened before. So you're in this city, there's 1,000 people, 2,000, 3,000, whatever, small amount, and the roads have been cut off. They've literally fenced you off with the National Guard for your own protection because of Ebola. And you're surrounded, and you have no phone, no electricity to power any devices. Nothing works that's electric. But you have all the water you need, all the heat you need, all the whatever you need. The government's giving it to you. The rest of the world has been told that aliens have invaded your area. You don't know that. You're just going about your day thinking there's a pandemic. You see, you've been cut off from the rest of the world, so you don't know what's real. You only know what you're being told, right? The rest of the world's like, holy shit, aliens took over. They used Project Bluebeam, made it look like that. Aliens are slaughtering people. There's the Army National Guard fighting off things on a big ass green screen. What do you know? What do you know? What do you know? You can't even come close to it. Nothing's allowed to fly over it. You can't send a drone, you can't call, you can't drive there. How do you know what is really happening in that city? People in the city think that the rest of the world is fucked with the pandemic and they're being protected, so they're compliant. The rest of the world thinks that the aliens took over and the National Guard is protecting the rest of the world to keep the aliens in. Which story is real? None. How do you know? Well, because I've told you the scenarios. But if you didn't know any of the scenarios, what would you think? If you were on the outside, you'd think that that little town in Missouri has just been taken over by aliens. If you're in that little town in Missouri, you think all of America has been infected with Ebola and they're protecting you. So again, you don't know the truth. You only know what they tell you and what you are allowed to hear and see. I want you to remember that as you watch the rest of this.
here. It arrived in Baltimore this morning.
Those people at the stadium. Run it!
Victorious.